According to dictionary.com, the definition of urban sprawl is the uncontrolled spread of urban development into neighboring regions. The key word here is uncontrolled. If the spread of urban development is not planned with sustainability for the future in mind, then there will be negative impacts, such as inefficient use of urban areas, taking up too much land that is best used to grow food, and destroying diversity-rich habitats for wildlife. Urban development needs to be planned out meticulously, with all of these factors in consideration, in order to ensure that the potential of the land and its resources are being maximized, allowing sustainability for years to come. Examples of urban sprawl can be seen all around the world. However, for this video, Canada's population has been shifting from a more rural-centered population to a more urban-centered population over the past few hundred years. As this table from Stats Canada shows, in 1851, Canada had a population just shy of 2.5 million people. At the time, approximately 13% of those people lived in urban areas, and 87% of them lived in rural areas. More recently, Canada's population has grown to almost 33.5 million in 2011, and 81% of people choosing to live in an urban setting, and 19% of people in rural communities. With our ever-increasing population, and more people moving to the city, new homes need to be built for them to live in, as well as new shops and service buildings, new schools, hospitals, recreation facilities and playgrounds, malls and parking lots, and the list goes on. The problem is that all of these new buildings take up space, and extra space is something that we don't have a lot of. According to the Living Planet report, our global ecological footprint is so large that we are currently using resources in an amount that could be only sustained if we had 1.5 Earths, which we obviously do not have. The most sustainable and efficient way to grow food is to use the most fruitful soil for growing crops and raising livestock. Chernozemic soil is the best for crop growth, according to the Country Pasture Forage Resource Profile of Canada by Dwayne McCartney. And as you can see from this map, the southern portion of the prairie provinces of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba have this rich soil type predominantly. And coincidentally, a lot of Canada's agriculture is also based out of these areas. However, the highest population density of the prairie provinces also happens to be in this area, according to these two maps from Stats Canada. Population density, once again according to dictionary.com, is the number of people living per unit of an area, for example per square mile, or the number of people relative to the space occupied by them. That means that there are a lot of people living and taking up space in both rural and urban areas on the most fertile soil of the country. With all of these people taking up so much space, that will leave less space for efficient food production. That is why urban sprawl in this area should be such a concern. Now we will look at a few specific examples from the Edmonton area. Our first example is Spruce Grove, Alberta. Like many towns and cities in Alberta, the outskirts of Spruce Grove have expanded in recent years to include many new home improvement stores, large grocery stores, strip malls, department stores, new housing developments, and huge recreational complexes. All of these places take up a lot of area and a lot of parking space. In comparison to regular malls, strip malls encourage more driving and less walking, as stores are often farther apart, and all store entrances are outside, causing a lot of people to drive from store to store. A lot of space could be saved if companies created underground parking for their customers as part of the building. One reason why companies may not be opting to try this option is the added building costs. However, with underground parking, there would be a few savings companies would also enjoy in the long run, such as not having to pay for snow removal in the winter. Another way that individual municipalities could decrease cars on the road and the need for parking lots is to work on creating more safe and efficient public transit systems so that people don't feel the need to drive everywhere. Many new neighborhoods are arranged with cul-de-sacs and plenty of turns to discourage extra non-resident traffic and to slow down speeders. However, the layout of these neighborhoods also discourages walking. For example, here is a Google Maps image of a new neighborhood in Spruce Grove. Let's say that there is a child named Jimmy who lives in this house. Jimmy's friend Sarah lives in this house. The direct distance between these two houses is not that far, perhaps a 5-minute walk. However, that route is not possible, as either child would have to walk through a few backyards and across a busy road to see their friend. So the parents drive their children back and forth using this route all the while burning fossil fuels in their cars and releasing more greenhouse gases into the air, and taking up parking spots along the side of the road. Now, if Jimmy and Sarah had lived in this older neighborhood of Spruce Grove, they would have been able to easily walk 5 minutes to their friend's house, saving their parents some gas, preventing more greenhouse gas emissions, and decreasing the need for more parking spots. The south side of Edmonton is another area that is growing quickly. Here the construction and the city visible in the background are just juxtaposed with very apparent previous farmland. Perhaps another way to preserve precious farmland would be to set aside specific areas that must remain farmland and continue building the city around them. In summary, a few ways that we could better use our land to encourage sustainability are being more efficient with our limited space for urban expansion by building up and not out, building regular malls instead of strip malls, encouraging businesses to incorporate underground parking into the design of their building, making neighborhoods more walkable, and improving public transit systems to decrease the number of cars on the road and in parking lots. And of course, making sure that fertile farmland is set aside to remain farmland, and that areas of great ecological diversity are set aside as parks. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.